Welcome to the Curious About Nature podcast. This is a podcast for folks who want to connect with nature and rewild childhood. Hosted by Rachel Mills, Buttercup Learning's founder, an educator with 20 plus years of experience with a passion for animation, the natural world and conservation. Rachel focuses on getting digital kids outdoors and having fun in nature, promoting well-being and a can-do attitude to local wildlife conservation and sustainable living. Join her and her guests for their stories, experiences, and tips to support outdoor learning and nature connection.
Welcome to the Curious About Nature podcast. This month we're joined by Nicola Everitt, who runs Rockpool School, a Northeast UK business that's dedicated to teaching children and grown-ups of all ages about marine life. Hi there, Nicola.
Hi.
I'm really inspired by Rockpool School. I think it's absolutely brilliant. Could you tell us a little bit about what was the inspiration behind it for setting it up?
Ever since, as far as I can remember, I've always loved the sea. Always loved everything in the sea. When I was little, I always thought I would grow up. My job would be swimming with blue whales, and I would get paid for it, and that was it. Life doesn't quite work like that. But as I was growing up, I didn't live far from the sea, but we didn't go to the beach that often. So when I did, it was such a big treat. And when I was growing up, I was always looking for things that I could do around the sea, activities, days out we could have. But there wasn't a lot, not giving away my age or anything, but the aquarium, which is close to where I live, didn't exist then either. So there was literally nothing. So basically, when I was growing up, I thought, I'm going to go to university or try and do marine biology, become a marine biologist. And then I started realising, if you want to be a marine biologist, it's actually quite a struggle until you go to university, finding anything you can do. So I thought, I'm going to make it my mission that there's something little children, grown-ups as well, can do, go along to, enjoy our coasts, get involved, learn about them. Basically, yeah. So just that there was a little tiny stepping stone for children, basically.
Yeah, I think it's really, really good that you've done this, because obviously, as we all know, that lots of our animals on this planet are endangered, and climate change, pollution, habitat loss having such huge effects on everything, not just us, but everything. Was that something that you were aware of maybe when you were younger?
When I was younger, definitely not. No, I don't think there was such a big thing like there is now about it. I wasn't aware. It wasn't until I got a bit older and then I started learning more and reading into things. Even just me going rock pooling, and years ago, animals that I used to see, you just don't even see very much anymore. Even I can just see a difference. So yeah, it's something that I've learned as I've went along. But I think children nowadays, they do get told a lot of things like that at schools. They are more aware, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you remember how old you were when you first became interested in marine biology? Was it something that was in the background from a very young age?
As long as I can remember. I can just remember my dad buying me a book about dolphins when I was tiny, and I was like, oh, this is so precious. I still have it actually. And I just looked at the pictures constantly, and I thought, I just want to work, just want a job like that in the sea with the dolphins and the whales. It's literally always been there, always.
Yeah. So why do you think it's important to get children interested in marine life?
Well, I think really nature in general, definitely, because obviously when I was little, we didn't have phones, we didn't have computers, anything like that. We were always outside playing, investigating. I was never in the house. I was always in fields looking for little bugs and things. And I think it's so different now because a lot of children just don't even go outside a lot.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important to show them what's out there. So when I do go into schools and things with my little Rockpool friends, a lot of children, even though I live so close to the coast, so many children have never ever seen them before. They've never been rock pooling, but then you can see once they've seen them, something kind of clicks, and I'm going to ask my grown-ups to go rock pooling. So I think they would go, job done.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you live near the coast now?
Yeah, I just live about a 15-minute walk away, so not far at all.
When you're not doing Rockpool School, would we still find you down the coastline?
Yep, definitely. Been down there this morning. I had no workshops today, and I've got up. Son went to school, and off I went down to the beach to have a look, just to always investigate and see what's there.
Yeah, it sounds like you've just got that natural curiosity. It's just obviously part of who you are. As a parent, we do, myself and my husband and my daughter, we go to the beach. We live not too far from Weston-super-Mare. That's like the closest place to us anyway. I'm curious, what activities do you recommend maybe parents who've maybe not done rock pooling growing up themselves? What would you recommend that they start with their children?
If they're close to a beach, actually, not all beaches
Yeah.
do have rock pools as well, but we're so lucky around the UK. I think a lot of people don't realise we have so much life in the sea. We have so many dolphins that can quite often be spotted. We had them along our coast this morning. They're all around. We have seals. Even if there is no rock pools, just walking along the beach, looking along the strand line. Recently, especially with the stormy seas, we'll have things like mermaids' purses, so shark eggs washing up. There's a lot of fossils wash up, obviously shells. There's just so much that they can do. Other things that they can do as well is things like litter picking, if they want to help that way. And I think just parents and children being out together and doing things together.
Yeah. If I was going rock pool, what do I need to be mindful of so that I'm not disrupting the environment or any marine life that I come across?
The best thing to do, obviously, you need to check the tides first of all, make sure
Yes.
the tide's out and going out and not going to come back in. But the best way to go rock pooling is just gently lift up the rocks and look underneath. A lot of things obviously hide under the rocks, but place them back really gently, exactly where you found them. Never take anything away from the rock pool. You can always put things in your bucket and have a little look, but put them back where you found them. Try not to walk through rock pools as well, because obviously little creatures bury in the sand. Just try and walk around them. Take any litter away with you. Another thing actually which people don't think about is if it's a really sunny day and you have sun cream and things like that on your hands, just be mindful putting them in and touching little creatures, because you might not like that. But yeah, as long as you're gentle and put everything back where you found it, then it's a good activity.
Yeah. And you mentioned earlier about children obviously learning about animals and plant life in schools and so on. I'm curious, do you have any kind of favourite British marine life or facts or maybe even just species that you absolutely adore?
Do love crabs. Good job, because I did my PhD on crabs at university, so I love crabs.
Yeah.
But also love a blue whale as well, but you're not going to find one of them in a rock pool. I love everything, to be fair. I love them all. They're all so different. They all have so many interesting facts, completely different to each other. That's how they all manage to survive. But I think one of my favourite ones is probably, my favourite fact is sea anemone. His mouth and his bum are the same things. Really nice. And the children love that. And that's the fact that they'll remember as well.
Yeah, it's the sort of thing that kids absolutely love, isn't it? It's a slightly, what's the word I'm looking for? Gross humour.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think because the creatures are so different and have such strange, the children take it in. If I see them again at another session, it's unbelievable how much they've remembered. I'm always really surprised. Good.
Yeah. So what happens at Rockpool School then? Because I know that you teach so many different age groups as well, don't you? Tell us a little bit more about how you started it.
So it started basically, my children, when they were at school, one of the teachers said, would you mind bringing some little creatures in and telling the children about them? So I thought, oh, okay. I was a bit nervous and worried because I'd never done it before, though, in front of a class of 30 children. But when I saw how much they got out of it, and this is a school that is literally a 5-minute walk from the seafront, and so many children had never seen these animals before, I was quite shocked, and I just thought these children need to know more about these. We did start off very slowly going into schools and then hiring maybe church halls and things so that the general public could come along and learn about the course. And we'd always have a little crafty activity as well, tell them lots of facts. And then we ended up going in care homes and things like that as well. People just started getting in touch. So they're really sweet actually, because they don't get story time like the little children do, but we're taking postcards of the seafront from years ago, we're taking old-fashioned sweets and cockles and mussels, and the reminisce, and they're completely different to the school workshops, but they're so rewarding, they're so sweet. So yeah, and then we've started doing adult sessions as well, because a lot of the grown-ups said, "Ooh, can you do one of these without the children, please?" So basically we do anything.
I'm curious about the fact that you're exploring marine life with all these different ages, from nursery kids to care homes. Can you tell us about one of your favourite ever sessions that you've had? Maybe something interesting you discovered on the beach, or maybe it was just a really lovely session.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably two that stand out. Not so long ago, we found a certain species of fish, which is really exciting to me, that I've never ever found before, because they're quite hard to find. So that was exciting. But probably one of my favourite sessions is when we went to a care home. And I didn't know the residents, obviously, but at the very end, one of the staff came over and she had tears in her eyes. And I was thinking, oh, have I done a really bad session? But she said the gentleman that I was talking to just doesn't speak at all. She's not heard him speak, but he was reminiscing and he was telling me stories about when he was little and how he'd be cheeky on the beach and things like that. And I just thought, oh, bless. So that just really stuck. I just thought that was really lovely, because something snapped in his head and he reminisced and remembered everything, and it was just really lovely. And I just thought, oh.
Yeah, no, I've had some elderly grandparents who lived in Hartlepool in the sea in Carew. And some of my best childhood memories, because my granddad had Alzheimer's in the end. And even when he was extremely poorly with that, when he was still able to move around, and even in the wheelchair, taking him down to the beachfront, he always seemed to, his ability to remember and be in the moment as opposed to just being in the past was really great. So I think there is something therapeutic, isn't there, about these things? It's like
Yeah,
reconnecting with your childhood, or just being like present and stuff in that
yeah,
moment as well.
yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
oh, that's brilliant. It's such a lovely thing to do, isn't it, as well? To give that
Oh,
that elderly person an opportunity to come out of their shell again. So are you quite busy with the various schools and other activities that you're doing then with Rockpool School? Does it keep you busy?
very busy. We're pretty much fully booked up until the end of the summer holidays,
Fantastic.
which is good. So my partner, he didn't actually grow up on the rocks, but he lived right next to the rock pools. He spent his childhood rock pooling, so he knows them inside out. He's coming along and helping out where he can as well, because I don't really want to say no to schools. I want to experience it. It is getting busy this year, which is good,
Yeah,
really good.
yeah. And when you're doing Rockpool School and doing the sessions, you mentioned about doing some crafts and other things. I'm curious whether or not you have any favourite books or resources that you sometimes bring along to those sessions.
For the schools, we're each sharing a shell, which is really good, because it tells the children a little bit about their little harsh lives and how they help each other out. If people are interested in rock pools, I have that one, which is really good. It's like an ID
Yes,
guide.
that's Great British Marine Animals, is it? Is it? Yeah.
Yeah, by Paul Neal, and it's really good. Everything you'll find along the coast. Plus, this one's really good. It's from St Mary's Island, the lighthouse near where I live. If parents want activities to do, there's so many things. There's animal IDs. There's how to be safe, how to be careful in the rock pools, how to check the tides, colouring in. There's just so much stuff, and that's really good as
Yeah.
well.
And I can see that you've got some soft toys in the background of showing. I know your logo was designed by one of your kids, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
son drew it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not allowed to change it.
Yeah.
That's it.
My daughter helped to name Buttercup, because we have a very large buttercup field right next to our house. And I knew I wanted something that was nature based, and I love flowers, so it was knew it was going to be a flower. But we went for a couple of names, and she was like, "Why not Buttercup?" And it was like, yeah, no, that's got really nice sort of childhood memories and that sort of side of things. And
Yeah,
recently she did some design work. She's only 8. She did design work for Buttercup, and I'd hired a graphic designer. Hilariously, her and the graphic designer's artwork was of a similar ilk in terms of the form of the buttercup. And then she accused the graphic designer of stealing her idea. And I had to explain to my daughter, no, it's just because buttercup, it's just the shape. It's funny, isn't it? Kids can be really invested in their parents' businesses, definitely.
Oh yeah, my son definitely is. I'm just building it up for him, ready for him for when he's old enough to take over, and then I'll switch
Yeah,
off a
you can
little
retire.
bit.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, got it all planned
yeah.
out.
So during the summer holidays, does your family come with you to Rockpool School sessions? Do they help out?
Sometimes my son used to help out a lot, but he's a bit
Yeah.
older now. He's 13, so he does help every now and again. My partner helps
Mm.
out. Both my girls, they're grown up now, but they would if I asked. If I needed them, they would definitely come,
Yeah.
yeah.
So when you were studying to become a marine biologist, did you, at that point, was that when you started imagining about Rockpool School, or was this something that's developed much later?
It was later actually. When I started marine biology, I didn't actually know what I was going to
Mm.
do, if that makes sense. I just thought, right, I just want to get my degree in marine biology and then figure it out after that. Then I actually stayed on and did a master's, and I thought, all right, I'm really interested in research. I love research. But then, like I say, when I went into the schools, my children's school, it just came from
Yeah.
that towards the end. I didn't plan to do this. I didn't even think about doing this. It just
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah, my daughter, who I said is only 8, she's quite keen on the idea of becoming a marine biologist. Not this year, last year we did it for Buttercup. We made a little activity box on British marine life, and she was quite taken with it. We don't spend a huge amount at the beach because it's 20-minute drive, so it's doable. But Weston-super-Mare tends to be quite busy with people, and it's not my favourite spot. There are the northeast beaches. Sorry to people in the southwest, but there are definitely some really interesting places to visit, and it's much nicer. It's more about the wildlife rather than it being a kind of tourist
Yeah,
resort, shall we say? Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, they're so different as well from Whitley Bay, moving slightly up to Cresswell or New Begin. They're so different. Even what you find in the rock
yeah,
pools, it's just interesting all the
yeah.
time.
Right now, if we were to go rock pooling, what might we find in one of the rock pools, maybe locally to you?
Ooh, you'll definitely find some periwinkle snails and some dogwelk snails and limpets and plenty shore crabs, hermit crabs. Starfish are very hard to find. Lots of different types of fish, butterfish. So if you go further north, then you find things like urchins, sea slugs. I found a spider crab once at Cresswell. So yeah, loads and lots
Yeah.
of things. So many different.
And if it was the school summer holidays local to your area, I'm not going to ask you to try and identify across the entire UK coastline, but close to you where you live, what might you spot, let's say, height of summer, August? What would we likely see in the northeast, maybe?
Definitely, most of the things
Yeah,
that I've just mentioned, so all the sea snails and the hermit crabs and the shore crabs and the butterfish and the blennies and the dolphins, not
yeah,
the rock pools
yes.
obviously, but on Mary's Island there's so many seals around the back of there as well. We're really lucky what we've
Yeah,
got. There's a basking shark actually probably a couple of weeks ago spotted near sea houses, I think.
yeah,
So there's so many things,
yeah,
yeah.
definitely. So with Rockpool School, what would you like to see it develop into next? Have you got any big exciting plans, or is it just about making sure that more kids get access to learning around marine life?
I think definitely making sure that the children get more access to it because a lot of children don't go to the beach, unfortunately. It costs some
Yeah,
families a lot of money to get to the beach. That's why I go into schools as well for people that can't actually access the beach. If it's not accessible to them, then we can go to them. But yeah, my main mission is basically just getting them more involved, seeing what's out there, appreciating it because they are our future,
yeah,
aren't they? They're going to be the ones looking after our planet. So if we're going to let them know what's out there, they can appreciate
yeah,
everything.
yeah. How does it make you feel at the moment when obviously we all know that there's a lot of climate change issues that affecting the marine life off our coasts? Are you hopeful that with research and more awareness that we will hopefully get to a point where maybe the next generation are invested in making sure that there's less endangered species and that we take care of habitats and so on? What's your kind of feelings about it?
Judging by when I go into schools, I think schools teach the children a lot along those lines, and they are aware, because even when I read the story Sharing a Shell, there's a little bit about paper cups being in a rock pool, and I always say, should they be on the beach? And they're like, no, you need to put your litter in the bin. And then a lot of them actually say, we do litter picks and things like that, which is really nice. So I think they are quite aware, and the fact that they actually meet the animals just makes them even more aware and appreciate what's out there. So I think fingers crossed, hopefully they're going to be the generation that changes a bit, because there is a lot of people obviously in our generation that kind of, oh well,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah, I wonder
So,
with it being less immediately obvious in the sense of the sea, for instance, isn't as explored, say, as a meadow that you could see with insects. So we all know about the plight of bees, for instance, and other insects.
yeah.
Maybe there's a little bit of a disconnect because we haven't had that chance yet to, as individuals, say. I'm not saying as a marine biologist. Hopefully, they've explored parts of the ocean. We know that's happening, but for the sort of normal family, you're not going to have that sort of connection in the same way, are you? And I wonder if that sometimes stops people from really understanding what's going on with our current marine life.
Yeah, I think so, definitely. Especially people that live really far
Mm.
inland as well. We go to schools in Oxford and Manchester every year, which is really nice because they're not, especially the one in Oxford, they're not close to the sea at all. So it's
Yeah.
completely different experience. The children are just screaming with excitement, and they appreciate, you can see what they get out of it. So I think even going inland and doing things like that where they can experience things will help a lot more as well. But yeah, I think they need it. They need the hands on. They need to see it to be able to want to learn about it and understand it and do anything
Yeah.
about it. It's
Yeah. That's
important.
great that you're having such a positive influence, isn't it? That must make you feel really good about what you're doing, definitely. And the positive impact that you and Rockpool School are having on that family is amazing, isn't it? I know we got all of these like forest schools that have developed over the last couple of years. It's become very popular, isn't it? And I sort of starting to see companies and individuals like yourself setting up beach schools, marine schools, rock pool schools and stuff.
Yeah,
But there was certainly a lot less of you in terms of people with like
yeah.
marine biology backgrounds and maybe just personal experience or whatever. Would you like to see Rockpool School franchised maybe around the UK?
Possibly, yeah. I think because we're so limited with the course as well, and then obviously there's things like tides and things which
Yeah.
affect if you can do sessions on the beach. So it's not like forest
Yeah.
school, you could go anytime basically. The tides are so limiting that it affects it a lot. So it is really hard. But yeah, it would be great to just see it all around
Yeah.
the UK. Definitely. And
Yes.
in the middle.
Yeah, anything water-based, isn't it then? But yeah, I could see Rockpool
Yeah.
School really working like that, and you being head of your franchise and lots of other ladies and men who want to get kids and young adults and older age people together around marine life.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hope it happens. I really do. Because we don't have anything like what you offer. I'm not aware of anything. Of course, there's lots of forest schools. There's one beach school in Devon that I'm aware of, and that is about it. But there's a real need for parents to be supported, to help support their children to get outside and have that adventure and explore,
Yeah.
and then grow up loving nature and want to protect it. And what you're doing is absolutely fantastic. So if I'm a parent in the Northeast, especially, where can I find you in person and online if I want to find out more about Rockpool School?
Well, we're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're on Twitter. I don't have a website. I did originally, but nobody ever used it, and it just wasn't worth it. Basically, we just seemed to get so much interaction through Facebook and word of mouth. And I do put on workshops and things that we're going to do on Facebook and Instagram as events. So people can get in touch if they want their own little session, because we do birthday parties and things like that as well. If not, I'll be on the beach somewhere.
Yeah.
I'll be the person with my head down looking around like
Yeah,
that.
I'd imagine that your family are very much used to that. And where's Mum? Oh, she's at the beach. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you're really looking forward to doing this summer? What's your is it the birthday parties, or have you got a special event on, or some day activity that you're looking really forward to?
But over the summer we do lots of different things. So we get booked by a lot of play cafes and things like that as well. So we'll go into the play cafe and do our little workshop, and then the children go off and play. So they're really sweet as well. We'll be doing some sessions on the beach. I just need to figure out tides and things like that. But going to Oxford at the end of June to the schools down there, and I just love going there as well, because it's just a completely different experience, because the children just love it so much, and it's just really nice. So I'm looking forward to that. But everything's fun, to be honest. It's just fun. We're just smiling all the time.
Yeah, that sounds brilliant. I got one final question for you, and that actually I think it'd be really nice to finish on. You mentioned one of your kind of sort of fun, sort of slightly gross out facts about marine life. You got any other marine life facts that you want to share?
I think it's usually the one that always gets the children the most, or always see. You've got to try and guess what this animal is, and they all know what it is. They know the animal, but I always give them the clues. I think this one's got 500 legs. This one's got 5 eyes. This one can drop his arms off and grow them back. This one's mouth is underneath. And then they're all like, it's an alien. You're making that up. It's got 5 arms. And then I always stand up in a star shape. And like, oh, a starfish. So they always seem to remember that.
Yeah, that's absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much for joining us, Nicola, and all the best with Rockpool School. And I look forward to your franchising. I've got your business sorted. Come and develop it so that people in the Southwest can have Rockpool School close to them as well. Brilliant. Thanks very much.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Curious About Nature. If you would like to keep getting nature and outdoor learning stories and tips, hit subscribe on the podcast so you never miss an episode. Don't forget to give a 5-star rating and review to support our podcast reach. To deepen your child's connection with nature and natural world education, please check out the Nature Curious subscription box. Head over to the website buttercuplearning.com to further support your family's nature journey.